If you think you've seen the darkest side of teenage crime, think again. Before you watch another true story, hit subscribe, like, and comment below, because what you're about to hear will haunt you long after this video ends. It was a cold, gray morning on November 30, 2021, in Oxford, Michigan, a town small enough for everyone to know each other, yet about to become known to the entire world. Inside Oxford High School, classes had just begun. The hum of teenage chatter filled the halls, the kind of sound that promised another normal day. But it wouldn't stay that way for long. At 10 a.m., teachers noticed a strange tension around one student, Ethan Crumbley, a quiet 15-year-old who barely spoke in class, but always watched the world with unsettling calm. His backpack hung heavy on his shoulder, his eyes tired but fixed, as if carrying a secret too big for anyone to understand. Earlier that morning, Ethan's parents had been called to the school. A teacher had found a disturbing drawing, a gun, a bleeding figure, and the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." The meeting ended quickly. His parents insisted he was just drawing out his feelings. The school counselor, unsure but constrained, let him go back to class. No one checked his backpack. No one realized what was inside. By 12:50 p.m., the sound of gunfire ripped through the halls of Oxford High School. Students screamed, doors slammed, teachers yelled for kids to hide. Police sirens echoed within minutes, but for those inside, every second felt like an eternity. When officers arrived, they found chaos, backpacks abandoned, alarms blaring, and terrified teenagers texting their parents goodbye. Within 5 minutes, the suspect was in custody. It was Ethan. He didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just stared ahead, his face blank and expressionless. As officers escorted him out of the building, one detective whispered, "He looks like a kid who doesn't even understand what he's done." But the evidence soon said otherwise. Inside his backpack, investigators found a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun, multiple rounds of ammunition, and a detailed note, one that mentioned voices, guilt, and a plan that couldn't be stopped. Back at the Crumbly home, detectives uncovered something else: Ethan's journal. Every page was darker than the last. Drawings, names, thoughts of violence, and one chilling sentence: "I have to do this. They won't listen until I do." When police showed the notebook to his parents, both froze. His mother reportedly whispered, "Oh my God, we missed the signs." That night, Oxford became the center of national horror. 4 students were dead. Several others were wounded, and a 15-year-old was facing charges usually reserved for adults. But what no one knew yet, not the school, not the police, not even his parents, was that this case was about to change American law forever. Because soon, prosecutors would make a move no one had ever dared before. They wouldn't just charge the shooter, they'd go after the parents. The day after the Oxford High tragedy, the school grounds were silent. Yellow tape surrounded the building, and the air carried a heaviness that felt impossible to describe. Parents gathered outside, clutching photos and flowers, faces pale from sleepless nights. News vans lined the streets, and the question on every reporter's lips was the same: how did no one stop this? Inside the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, detectives were piecing together a timeline. Ethan Crumbley sat in a small gray interrogation room. No tears, no words, just stillness. The evidence against him was overwhelming: the gun, the journal, the camera footage. But investigators weren't just focused on what happened. They wanted to know why. That's when they opened Ethan's phone. What they found made even the most experienced officers go quiet. Hundreds of notes, Online searches and recorded messages painted a chilling picture. A teenager spiraling deeper into darkness, reaching out for help in ways no one saw. But one discovery changed everything: the purchase record of the handgun. It wasn't bought by Ethan. It was bought by his father, James Crumbly, just days before the shooting. The gun had been stored at home, unlocked. Even worse, investigators found text messages from Ethan's mother, Jennifer Crumbley, joking about the purchase, calling it his new Christmas present. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about a killer kid. It was about two parents who ignored every warning. Investigators traced back to the morning of the shooting, the meeting between the school and Ethan's parents. The counselor had begged them to take him home that day. They refused. "He needs to stay at school," Jennifer said. "We have work." When the meeting ended, Ethan went to the restroom. Minutes later, he opened fire. As prosecutors reviewed the evidence, one thing became clear. This wasn't just negligence. It was a chain of decisions that led to death. And on December 3rd, 2021, history was made. For the first time in the United States, the parents of a school shooter were charged with involuntary manslaughter.
The world erupted. Some called it justice. Others said it was unfair to blame parents for their child's crime. But Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald stood firm. These deaths could have been prevented. These parents failed their son and every victim in that school. While Ethan was transferred to an adult facility, awaiting trial as the youngest person ever charged with terrorism causing death, his parents were on the run. U.S. Marshals launched a statewide manhunt. Their car was found in Detroit, and hours later, the couple was discovered hiding inside a warehouse basement. When they were let out in handcuffs, reporters shouted questions. Jennifer turned briefly and said, "We never meant for this to happen." The image spread across every screen in America. A family once living an ordinary suburban life, now chained by the consequences of silence and neglect. But the most shocking moment was still to come. Because as the trial approached, Ethan himself would take the stand, and what he said would leave the entire courtroom in stunned silence. It was February 2023, and the courtroom in Oakland County, Michigan was silent. The walls seemed to absorb the pain of everyone inside, the victims' families, the investigators, and even the reporters who had followed this case from the beginning. At the center sat Ethan Crumbley, now 17 years old. Dressed in an orange jumpsuit, his head remained low as the judge entered. The boy who once walked through the hallways of Oxford High was now facing the rest of his life behind bars. But what made this sentencing different wasn't just Ethan's age. It was what the world had learned in the months leading up to this moment. The signs, the warnings, and the chilling lack of intervention. When prosecutors began reading from Ethan's journal, the entire room froze. "I want to shoot up the school. I can't stop thinking about it. My parents won't listen. They think I'm fine." Those words echoed like a ghost through the courtroom. His parents' negligence had turned a cry for help into a massacre. Then came the testimonies. A mother, clutching a photo of her daughter, stepped up to the microphone, her voice trembling. "You stole my baby's future. She wanted to be a doctor. She never even made it to 16. Another father followed, his tone raw and furious. "We raised our kids to believe school was safe. You destroyed that belief, not just for Oxford, but for the entire country." Each testimony cut deeper than the last. Even the judge, Quantina Cameron, looked visibly shaken. When it was Ethan's turn to speak, the room held its breath. He stood slowly, eyes red but dry. "I'm sorry. I didn't deserve the life I had. I ruined others because I couldn't face myself. I don't expect forgiveness." For a brief moment, the courtroom was completely still. No movement, no sound, just the weight of 4 young lives lost and dozens more forever scarred. Then came the sentence. "Ethan Crumbley," the judge said, her voice steady but cold. "You are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole." The gavel struck once. It was over. Ethan didn't cry. He simply nodded, as if he'd been expecting it all along. Outside the courthouse, news crews captured the crowd's reaction. Some cheered for justice, others mourned that it had come too late. But one thing was certain: this case had changed the country. For the first time, schools, parents, and lawmakers were forced to confront a terrifying question: how many warnings does it take to stop a tragedy? Months later, both James and Jennifer Crumbly would also stand trial for involuntary manslaughter. Their defense? They never knew their son would do it. But the jury saw it differently. They were found guilty, making them the first parents in U.S. history convicted for their child's school shooting. America had crossed a line it could never uncross. In the end, the story of Ethan Crumbley wasn't just about a school shooting. It was about a society that ignored the signs until it was too late. A warning carved in tragedy, echoing in classrooms across the nation. And as the prison doors closed behind him, the silence of that final moment said it all. He was 15 when it began, 17 when it ended, and his name will forever be remembered as the boy who changed America forever. If you thought this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe, because what comes next is even darker.